Okay, we're going to start streaming. It's loading, and there's a delay always, which kind of makes me crazy, but we'll get there. Hello, Facebook world. Welcome. Forkfighter.com. I'm Brenda Bauer. So excited to share with you today and for you to get to meet my dear friend, Angie Wiley. And let me switch to her bio so that I can tell you the real deal about who you get to meet today. I'm so excited. So Angie has been in medical device sales for the past 21 years. For the last 10, she has served as a district sales manager covering multiple states. Anybody here busy? Angie also has experience in small business as well as achieving a high level in a short time with network marketing. In 2014, Angie created You Are Strong, where she began serving athletes in teaching the power of their mental game. In 2015, this carried over to also teach the same powerful message to women in business. Are you getting excited? Okay. Angie's family life changed at the end of 2014 when her husband Chuck was diagnosed with cancer. He passed away in May of 2020 after enduring 5.5 years of holistic and medical treatments. Even with life's challenges, Angie continued to build You Are Strong for the first 3 years of this journey. Chuck asked her during this time, "What are you waiting for?" The fact that life is potentially short had become a reality. It can be so easy to think that we need to wait for perfect conditions before we're ready to go for our dream and make a difference. Amen. Angie did ultimately put things on hold with You Are Strong as Chuck's health, treatments, and her family required all of her energy. Angie sees God's hand on each step. There are lessons in our hardships. You Are Strong became not just a message for her to share, but one to internalize at a much deeper level. Wow. We learn as we grow, right? Angie has 3 children and 2 grandbabies. Jaden, 18, is currently running track at KU. Logan, 24, is currently playing baseball at MSU. Liz, 31, has a 2-year-old, and 5-year-old, and is scheduled to run an ultra marathon in July. Go Liz. 50 miles in memory of her dad. Wow. Angie holds a Bachelor of Science degree with a minor in psychology from Pittsburgh State University. As a previous college athlete, she still brings her fierce competitive drive to inspire others, and you're going to get that today. So now she asks you, what are you waiting for? So are you excited? Angie, I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for saying yes. I can't wait for my friends to get to meet you.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. Good to be here.
Okay, so how are you? Really? Loaded question, right? Yeah.
Sorry, you're going to see the talking through tears.
I'm with you. I could have cried over your bio and I didn't even walk your journey. So.
Well, as you all heard through the bio, it has been a challenging year and a challenging few years. But when you asked me today, how I am, we had a lot to go through last year. But the last 2 to 3 weeks of 2021 has felt good, where I feel like I've kind of had a moment to get my feet underneath me and looking forward and what does life have in store for me now. And so even though we're still working through everything that we've been through, I think I am kind of looking to what is next, and working with You Are Strong again, and what does that look like in the future, and what does God have in store for me. And so that all feels good to be in that place right now. So yeah,
kind of what I'm hearing from what you said is you can be sad and grieving and also have joy in the day, have a future to look forward to, and those two things can be held in tension. Would you say that that's fair?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that just going through what we went through, that was something that I really learned going through the process, because, and not to, I know we've got a lot of questions, but one thing that it really did for me is I've always been so goal oriented and such a driver that it just brought me to a place of live right now, here for today, be in the moment, enjoy every moment. And it really is a choice. And I looked at things through the lens of, if I give up my days worrying and being upset and thinking about what if in a negative light, then we waste those moments. And so through that time, I think I personally had to use You Are Strong, and what I had been teaching to athletes and experienced in my life, but it was at a whole nother level, because I had to control my thoughts and my mind, and really control where my focus was, and had to be hypersensitive to catching myself and bringing myself back, because there's no point in wasting any of that time that we had. So happiness is a choice, and that's what we chose as a family. We chose to have as much fun as we could, and no one knows what the outcome to anything like that is going to be. And so, don't waste it, and just live and enjoy each other and love and appreciate what you have.
Wow. Yeah, there's so much wisdom there. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Okay, so tell us what your health journey has been like.
Well, as you heard in my bio, I was a college athlete. And so I was always an athlete. And I think at a very young age, when I started lifting weights, I love to lift, and I still enjoy lifting. But I also was health conscious and paid attention to what I ate. And I think I've just continued to grow in that throughout my life. And even once Chuck got his diagnosis, we were already, what seemingly pretty healthy family, supplements and worked out and all of that, tried to eat well. But we knew quickly that the medical diagnosis that he had and the medical route was really not going to provide the outcome that we wanted. But we did believe, and we also have a holistic physician, that the body has the ability to heal. And so we traveled to Ecuador and to Mexico to search out holistic therapies that weren't available in the US, because we wanted to obviously give it everything that we could to give him an opportunity to heal and or even extend life. And we know that we did that. And so part of that journey during that time, I caught myself probably, as a lot of women on this call would do, is you're taking care of everyone else and everything. And I found that I was getting sick almost monthly or every other month. It was like I felt like I was just fighting something. And it was at that time, I was taking some supplements, but I did start on Juice Plus. And so I don't even know if Brenda knew I was going to share that, but it was just an easy way just to try to make sure that I was getting everything that I needed. And so I also did the same for the kids. And so it was just, kind of the thing that I put it in front of them, and then myself. And my husband was on a very restricted diet, lots of juicing, everything organic. And so it was a whole lot of work. And I did do some of that with him, but it was also nice to have those supplements to pop in my mouth daily as needed. So, I still try to live by that. I think it's just kind of who I am. It's just part of me to healthy eating and supplements and doing my best to stay fit. So I don't want to give everyone the perception that I work out every single day. I don't. I think life is busy and we have to take it in bits and pieces sometimes. And I work out in the basement, and sometimes it's 15 minutes 3 times a week, and other times, it might be 30, I'm not going to stretch it. It's probably not ever more than 30 minutes. Sometimes it might be, my best would be 4 or 5 days a week. But I think the important thing is that we move. I do believe in weightlifting, because I think strength training and keeping our bodies strong makes a huge difference in how we feel as well.
I love that. Thanks for the honest picture of, what your workouts look like, right?
Yeah,
because
I did.
We have all this imagination of like, oh, Khalifah athlete, she must, spend 2 hours in the morning lifting weights or something. And yeah.
I thought I maybe needed to clarify that, because everybody could develop their own perception in their head. So we got to be real.
So funny. We make up our own stories, right?
Yes.
And I love what you said about taking care of the caregiver, right?
Right. Yeah.
To be there
which
for Chuck.
Probably goes for a lot of women on this call.
We're nurturers by nature, I think, many of us for sure. So what are 3 habits that help you protect your health? You kind of said them, but.
So one thing, and I have to go back to the journey that we went through the last, 5-6 years now, and reflect back to number one, your spirit and your mind and your thoughts, because I feel like that controls everything that we do daily. And obviously that's the foundation also of You Are Strong, and why I'm so passionate about that. But I think it did kind of hit me in the face, because going through what I went through, I actually felt my body respond to stress. And stress is us thinking about things most of the time, and in this situation about the future that hadn't happened yet. But I was literally giving my body a stress response, because my thoughts had taken off like a train, if you will. And then so it's like I got very diligent about spending time in the morning in meditation and in quiet time and prayer. Honestly, I spend more time in meditation than prayer. And I would say I'm a very spiritual person. So prayer to me is open throughout the day, and I just feel like I have a connection. Meditation is being very conscious of working to quiet our mind. And I know some of you out there may say, oh, I can't meditate. I've tried it. And the thing that I would want to say about that is, I don't think any of us are great at meditation, because our minds go, and it is a challenge. And to me, it's kind of like fitness, it's trying to get our minds to be fit and really be conscious of pulling back on the thoughts. So as you meditate, when you just recognize a thought going through your head, that's all you do, is you just recognize it and then try to bring yourself back. And if you meditate for 15 to 20 minutes and you actually only get maybe 3 or 4 minutes of, where you actually focus on your breathing, or whether you're listening to something, but for me personally, it made an impact, and it helped me to ground myself every day, be very intentional about my thoughts and controlling my thoughts throughout the day. And so that was my spiritual moment in the morning. And I think going back to your question, 3 habits that helped me protect my health, that is one. And it's probably the biggest. And that's why I spent just a lot of time answering it, because managing your mind and managing your thoughts, whether that has to do with worry, anxiousness or anxiety, stress, all of that is because what we are allowing in our mind. And so if you can get control of that every day, then you're setting the intentions for your day with a lot more power than if you just got up and just, swept yourself right into your day. Then you're at the mercy of everything that's going to come at you, which some days is a lot. So that truly is my number one, is that connection. And the other ones would be what we had just talked about as far as health and fitness. And I think that those habits are important. You also have to be easy on yourself, because some days we're going to be much better than others. So don't beat yourself up when we have a bad day, because we all have them. We may go a few days or however long without, getting a workout in or exercise in. And we all know that that's good for us, but don't also at the same turn mentally beat yourself up because you're not getting it done, because then you're like double whammying yourself. So,
yeah. Oh my gosh,
yeah.
I love that so much. And I love that you started with the mental piece. So I meant to say at the beginning of the call, like how we met each other, how we've gotten to work together. So Angie and I were actually introduced through a mutual friend who said, oh my gosh, Brenda, you have to meet Angie, right? And so we just met for coffee, and it was like immediate connection. And Angie was starting a mastermind group. And so I got to be a part of that. What, a year, 2 years, something like that. It was such a
Right.
treat.
I think it ran about 2 years before I pulled back and stopped.
Yeah. And I've taken so much away from that experience, but definitely one of the big pieces was being aware of what your thoughts are landed with me at such a deeper level. And then two, that we have a choice of what to do when we observe those, right? Like, do I want to keep doing that, or do I want to take myself in a different direction? So thank you so much for that. And I love that, because I think when we think about health, right, it's like, oh yeah, what I put on my fork, what I do in the gym, but this, yeah, I love what you said. That was awesome. What has been the biggest challenge or challenge balancing mom life with career life?
So right now where I'm at in life, you guys heard my kids' ages. So, and yes, the last 5.5, 6 years has, I've had a lot on my plate, but so like right now, at this moment is probably where I feel like I've had the most freedom since probably I became a mom. Just, my daughter's off to college, and, I have adult grown children. And I think thinking back, because I was always a working mom and I did have kids in sports, and it is probably just being easy on yourself and knowing that there's never a perfect life balance. So, I think if you're trying to live up to that picture of life balance all the time, then again, you're putting stressors on yourself, because there were days that I had to travel for work. There's, and then you get home and you're in the craziness and you're headed to a game, and then there's times where you really connect with your family. And I think it's just the ebb and flow of life. And again, I mean, it's probably in my nature, but I have to take it back to the mental side, because it's how you look at it and how you perceive that. Are you going to beat yourself up about it? Or are you just going to understand that, give yourself a break, and you're doing the best that you can. And that's what we all do, is we all do the best that we can. And we can't be perfect at everything all the time. And so just know that there's an ebb and a flow. And so be easy on yourself through that ebb and a flow. And really, I think that's the most important part, is that we don't beat ourselves up and make it worse.
Yep. I love that so much. And when you were talking about food too, and not compounding it, or exercising and not compounding it about beating yourself up, I was thinking, yeah, eat the chocolate cake and feel good about it, right? Because
if you're going to eat it, be happy that you're eating it.
Yeah, for sure. Like, enjoy it, move on. Don't have chocolate cake at the next meal, whatever. But don't eat the whole cake, maybe. But whatever.
Right. Don't eat the whole cake, and then maybe go for a walk or move or something later. But
enjoy it, appreciate it. I love that
right.
so much. Okay, so the next question is kind of changing subjects a little bit. So you and I talked about this, but so my passion is helping busy moms go from surviving the day, oh my gosh, I'm just going to slog through, put my head down, get through it, to thriving, to finding the joy in the simple moments, like you said, in, we have a choice about how we want to feel about things. And so putting simple habits in place. And one of the areas that so many people struggle with, and I've been there too, is the financial piece. And I've asked God for a long time, like, why did you park me in the health and wellness industry when I have a business background? And it's about this passion for families and the statistic that 250 to 500,000 or 500,000. Yes, I will take 500,000. How about 250 to $500 a month is what makes a difference in just about any tax bracket. So I love to give money tips. What are some lessons that you have learned around money that you can share?
Okay. You guys are going to quickly see that I have a theme here. But I believe that, first of all, money and how we feel about money and how we think about money really does set the stage or your foundation for what that looks like in your life. And most importantly, we can always be measuring ourselves, and you can live in a place of thinking that you never have enough or that you're living in lack, or you can look at that through a lens of abundance. And, you know, one thing when I say that I meditate in the morning, I do also journal. And one of the things that I journal is appreciations. And so even though we may want that new shiny thing out there, when we bring it back to creating a feeling of abundance inside of us. And so I have spent through even the challenges that we've gone through, really practicing keeping myself in a place of abundance. And it's not just money necessarily, it's life, but it's just feeling that total appreciation for where you are, for what you have, for what God has provided. Because I don't think that we can, it's going to be really challenging to grow from a financial standpoint or grow a business if we're operating from a place of lack, and if our head is in lack mode versus abundance mode. I think that we show up two different ways depending on how we are lined up with that. And so there again, I think you've got to get your head right. And I think that you need to operate from a money standpoint, truly from a place of abundance. Because big picture, guys, every single one of us, whatever we have going on in our life, we're still more blessed than, I don't know, probably the biggest percentage of the world. And so we need to look at it like that, because the feeling and what you think about it is the most important thing, or it's going to be really challenging for you to grow. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to grow, but you got to make sure that you know where you're coming from.
Yeah. That reminds me, contentment is not the absence of desire. And I used to think that it was, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Totally appreciate where you are and still have goals. Love that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about some lifestyle habits that you've learned that feed your soul.
So I guess you could maybe say I'm a nerd when it comes to personal and professional development. And also, like, obviously mindset, you guys hear me, but if I'm listening to something, if I'm reading something, it is mostly in that realm because that's where my passion is. And I do have another side of me too that is a creative side, and I love to paint. I love to be creative. And what I found was, since I've been in medical device for 21 years, and I had, busy children. So by the time you work and then keep up with your children and your family and all of that, right, to find time for those passions in your life can be challenging. And when I was originally telling my story as far as creating You Are Strong, it came from a place of me feeling like God continually was like tapping me on the shoulder, saying, you need to do something with this, right? And I kind of had an idea, but I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know what it was. And so I started it, and what I found was it served also the creative side of my soul, because it let me live where my passion is, but then the creation portion of what does this look like, I think it served that whole side of me that wasn't getting served in corporate, on the corporate side of my job. And so and that kind of just fit in the bits and pieces and cracks of life during that time. But it was enough that it served my soul, and it did let me start building what I wanted to build.
Mm-hmm. I love that, cracks of life, right? I think so
right.
often when we want to, so many of us, I think, are wired for excellence, right? So I don't know if you identify with this, but before I, got some personal growth under my belt, if there was a new opportunity, it was like, well, can I do it well? And there is a point of showing up and doing well, right? But also sometimes just try it, like just dip your foot in, dip your toe in, see what happens, take the one right next step. You don't have to have the 7-year plan all laid out and know everything about everything. Just
right.
Follow your passions in the cracks.
I don't know if you remember, Brenda, but in the beginning of You Are Strong, when I brought a group of women together, I knew that I was supposed to do it. So I felt like I was listening and answering the call, right? I think probably everybody has been there, whatever that is for you. But I didn't know what that was. And I was still working full-time and had busy kids. And so I had set up a lunch for the first Monday of every month. And I don't know if you remember this, but I did share it with the group. I'm like, I know that Monday is scheduled, and I need to deliver. And what that did for me was it put me into oh shit mode about 3 days before the lunch. And so I share that because it's okay to be messy. I just showed up, and I was honest with you guys on exactly where I'm at. But you all also saw me trying to build in the cracks of life, along with my job and my kids and family. But sometimes I'm going to go back to where we started, and Chuck said, what are you waiting for? If we wait until things are perfect in life, you are never going to go for it. And so you have to be okay to sometimes just do it in the mess and put yourself out there and build without being perfect. We have to be okay with showing up imperfect, because we are all imperfect anyway, no matter how you want to make it appear. And so be okay with being imperfect and work just through the mess, but keep moving forward.
I love that. It's so funny that you brought up the earlier days, because when you were talking earlier, I had this flashback of you, and you're so poised. You're an excellent speaker. You obviously present all the time. And yet there was something about, I don't remember if you're down or like your hand maybe shook when you set the book down or something. And I thought, oh, she's nervous. I would have never known, right? But you were nervous, and you did it anyway, even though you were nervous. It didn't mean you didn't have a gift to give. It didn't mean you weren't prepared or didn't know what you were doing, but like through the nerves.
Yeah, it usually, yeah, that's why I said it put me into like, oh shit mode, just to share that. Cause I know everybody on this call has been in that mode at one time or another, regardless of what it was in regards to, but yes. So nerves and all, because you do want to show up with something to give and you want it to be valuable. But it was a lot of times it was just raw information. So
yeah, perfect. I love that. Okay. Why do you do what you do and serve where you serve?
Well, you guys probably have, I feel like it was God-led and that I've listened. And again, when you go back to meditating and trying to quiet our mind, I feel like that is the time for us to listen, where we can feel the taps as far as where we're being led. Because each and every one of us has gifts and we all have passions. And so I just finally listened to the taps, and that is what started my journey for You Are Strong, which is also my passion.
I love that. We don't have to know all the answers, just follow the taps.
You just have to start moving.
So what are the godly desires that are unique to you? Anything you want to add?
Probably getting back in the game, if you will, of growing and looking to see what's next with You Are Strong. Because I know through that business it touches a lot of people. And so that would be my desire, is to make a difference to a lot of people, to youth athletes, to adults. And you know, I just tabled this business probably almost 2.5, 3 years ago. And I knew it was still there, but I just obviously let go of it because it was not where I was going to put my time and energy. And so now as I pull it, you know, back out, once again, I don't know what it looks like. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know where it's going to take me. And so maybe just being open to allowing it to be God guided and see what doors it opens. But my desire is to be able to use that to touch people, and who knows what that looks like moving forward.
Love that. So exciting. So exciting. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see too. Okay, so I have a series of rapid fire questions to wrap us up. I like to call them soul snacks because I'm really learning that taking care of our soul is really the most important part of us, and kind of like getting your mind, you know, in right is sort of the thing that reorders all the other parts of our life. And then, you know, fork fighter, right? So we love to talk about good snacks. So what is your favorite food or meal? The thing that brings you comfort, peace?
I do like a lot of different foods. Probably my favorite would be Mexican. Okay. But I do like a lot of different foods, probably like most people. But yeah,
so what does your Mexican dish look like? Is it smothered in cheese and so enchilada sauce?
It's usually chicken enchiladas or spinach enchiladas. Yeah. Yes. And I'm actually, I've laughed. I've always said I'm a really cheap date because you could just order appetizers for me too. So I'm a chip and dip person, which is not fall in the health, right? But you know, we've got to enjoy.
Right. Yeah. Appetizers is my favorite food group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Get that. Totally. Okay. What is something people think about you that is often wrong? Something they assume?
You know, I don't know if I really know the answer to that question. And there's some really good quotes, and quotes aren't coming to my mind right now, but it really does have to do with you shouldn't get too caught up in what other people think about you, because that can stop us in our tracks from where we're supposed to move ahead. And no matter what you are trying to grow or do, you have to follow your heart. And the minute that you start worrying about what other people think about you or what you're doing, it's probably going to throw you off course, and it's going to mess with your mind. So I would say stay away from that.
Thank you.
I remember the quote now. I think it says, what other people think of me is really none of my business.
Yeah. Amen. I love it. Yeah. Name something in your fridge right now that is unusual.
Oh, goodness. I don't know what's unusual to this group, because you may have a pretty healthy group on here. I do have aloe juice.
Yeah.
So that might not be common. That's in some fridges, but I do have aloe juice, kefir, because we use that to throw into smoothies. Yeah. Sometimes. So
do you do aloe shots, or do you mix it in with stuff?
We usually will put it in with our smoothies.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, describe an everyday moment that brings you much joy.
My peaceful mornings, right, where I take that time for connection. Because I just feel like it sets the foundation for my day. And some mornings that may be really fast, right? So again, because don't create a perception that you have to sit down for 20 to 30 minutes for you to feel like you're connected. Some mornings that might be 5, but really try to take the 5. And even if you can connect and in your head, even set your intentions for the day, it really can change the course of how your day goes. And so that to me is my favorite time. Just,
I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, what's your favorite word?
Oh, I don't have a favorite word. I don't know.
All good.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Kind of like my granddaughter asking me my favorite color. I'm like, I don't know. I like a lot of colors.
Like all the colors.
Yeah.
That is so cute. Okay, at the end of your life, what would you like to hear God say?
I guess well done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mine too.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like our job here is to use the abilities and the blessings that he's given us. And so that is my intent now is to, and obviously, again, most of us are, or a lot of us are moms and we have a family. And I think that that's our primary legacy is that's our family. But outside of that, I think too, it's important that we are using our gifts and our blessings and sharing those and not letting fear and those types of things hold us back.
I love that so much. Thank you for doing this with me.
You are
This
so
fun
welcome.
experiment. I love it.
You're so welcome. Yeah.
Oh, so great. Anything you want to say before we sign off of Facebook?
I'm going to go back to the beginning and ask everybody, what are you waiting for? It's time to just go for it and go do your thing, step out, and just move forward in the mess.
I love it. Thank you so much. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Brenda.
There.
Appreciate it.